Good afternoon and welcome to From Where We Are, stories of news and culture through the lens of USC and Southern California. I'm Sana Mahmood.
And I'm Michael Kahn, and we're coming to you live from Studio B in USC's Annenberg Media Center. It's Monday, April 7th. On today's show, international students face growing challenges amid recent visa revocations.
USC celebrates Arab American Heritage Month.
And the School of Dramatic Arts spring musical Something Rotten welcomes guests to the Renaissance. All that and more from where we are.
But first, today's headlines.
This morning, the U.S. Supreme Court backed President Trump's decision to enforce the Alien Enemies Act of 1798 for rapid deportations. Historically, it has been used only in wartime. The Supreme Court decision allows the Trump administration to continue to deport migrants it claims are members of the Tren de Aragua gang in Venezuela. The Trump administration has sent more than 200 Venezuelans from the U.S. to El Salvador to be imprisoned there, claiming they have gang affiliation, although the administration has not provided proof or given them a hearing first. The Supreme Court also temporarily paused a deadline set by a lower court to return one of those men, Kilmar Abrego Garcia. The administration had admitted the Maryland father was sent to El Salvador by mistake.
Good news if you're a Huskies fan. UConn successfully beat out the defending champions, South Carolina, with a final score of 82-59 on Sunday in the NCAA Women's March Madness Tournament final. This is the women's team's first national title in almost a decade. Starred player Paige Bueckers, also known as Paige Buckets, finished her NCAA tournament career with a 477 career points and is expected to be the WNBA's draft number 1 pick. Coach Gino Arema and Bueckers shared an emotional moment as she walked off the court for the final time. Tonight we'll close out the men's championship game with the Florida Gators facing off against the Houston Cougars at 5 p.m.
The Minecraft movie crafted itself a strong weekend at the box office, as the movie grossed a whopping $156 million in ticket sales in both the U.S. and Canada. The movie, based off the beloved video game, features Jack Black and Jason Momoa as they're transported into the overworld and go on an adventure to get back home. Audiences gave the film a better score than critics, with men under the age of 25 making up the majority of the audience. The original version of Minecraft is the best-selling video game of all time and has sold over 300 million copies to date.
Sea lions have begun to attack swimmers along California's coast, and scientists say polluted waters are to blame. Phoebe Beltran, a 15-year-old qualifying for a lifeguard position in Long Beach, received bites along her arm after an irritated seal struck during her test. RJ La Mendola, a surfer near Oxnard, experienced a similar close encounter on March 24th. La Mendola wrote on social media, quote, "Its expression was feral, almost demonic, devoid of curiosity or playfulness. Domic acid toxicosis, caused by the infamous red bloom of aquatic algae, could be to blame for the incidents. The algae infects local food supplies and causes seizures in affected wildlife. Extreme fight or flight responses are the common response in these situations, according to the Los Angeles Marine Mammal Care Center. Human-induced climate change can cause disruptions to natural ecosystems and encourage more of these blooms in the future."
University officials have announced a star-studded lineup of speakers for this year's graduation ceremonies. John M. Chu, director of Crazy Rich Asians and Wicked, will be the headlining speaker at the main commencement in the LA Memorial Coliseum. Snoop Dogg will speak to graduates of the Marshall School, and activist and actress Jane Fonda will address Annenberg students. Viterbi graduates will hear from tech and AI executives. That's all for today's headlines. Dozens of visas for international students have been revoked across the country this week, causing a wave of uncertainty here at USC. Justin Haw has the story.
The USC campus seems to be running as usual, but a political shadow looms over many of the university's international students. In the past week at colleges and universities across California, dozens of international students have had their visas revoked by federal authorities. Already, the Trump administration has revoked hundreds of valid student visas nationwide. These actions leave students here on our campus wondering, is USC next? Visa revocations have affected at least 45 students and recent graduates from California universities, such as UCLA, UC Irvine, and Stanford. Students at Harvard and Columbia and Colorado have also been impacted by similar actions on their campuses. Some students participated in last year's student protests against the war in Gaza. One, a doctoral student at Tufts University, wrote an op-ed in the student paper. The Trump administration has characterized these actions as having, quote, serious adverse foreign policy consequences. Other students who have been impacted committed minor infractions like traffic violations, regardless of whether there was ever a conviction. While USC has not announced if any student visas have been canceled here, Niels Frenzen, the director of USC's immigration clinic, says the university could likely be a target in the future. USC is home to more than 17,000 international students, the most at any California school.
You know, we've been aware of this happening now for several weeks, and obviously there's a lot of reporting about different things connected with visas that are happening to international students at universities across the country. So it ain't stopping today.
Frenzen said there are actually two policies at play: visa revocations and terminations in SEVIS, the Student and Exchange Visitor Information System. Visa revocations affect a student's ability to remain in the U.S. Meanwhile, SEVIS terminations affect a student's employment authorization and ability to re-enter the United States, and may result in them needing to leave the country. Frenzen says there is an ideological factor to many of the visa revocations and SEVIS terminations. The State Department has been monitoring students' social media accounts in a surveillance program called Catch and Revoke, which checks students' accounts for what they consider concerning political activity.
People are being vetted for pro-Palestinian or allegedly pro-Hamas, anti-Israel, allegedly anti-Semitic comments. That is a potential basis in the government's view, for the visa revocation or a status termination.
Frenzen says international students should be very careful what they post and like on social media, and even what information they store on their phones and computers. He encourages international students to educate themselves on their rights, stay informed on the latest actions from the government, and seek legal advice if needed. He also recommends international students maintain full-time enrollment, only take a paid job if they are authorized to do so, and make sure their SEVIS record is up to date.
These are very difficult times. They're very stressful, and people just need to educate themselves and get legal advice where appropriate.
Frenzen says to expect more action from federal authorities in the near future. For Annenberg Media, I'm Justin Ha.
The sounds of traditional Arabic music and the smells of delicious food filled the air at Han Plaza this afternoon during a kickoff event for Arab American Heritage Month. Kim Lee has the story.
The celebration was put on by USC's Middle Eastern and North African Student Assembly, also known as MENASA. They organized the event in collaboration with the MENA Lounge and the Saudi Student Assembly. The event explored the theme, Roots Grow, Branches Reach.
May our roots forever ground us, and may our branches reach farther than we ever dreamed.
That is Senior Noor Mira Gaha, one of the co-founders of MENASA. She explained that the theme is an homage to Middle Eastern and North African heritage, what MENA stands for.
Our roots are deep. They are carried in the call to prayer and the church bells, echoing in our memories, in the scent of al-oud wal yasmin in our homes, in the poetry of Mahmoud Darwish, in the writings of Ghassan Kanafani, and in the defiance of Fairuz every morning.
Gaha continued.
And now we reach. We reach for each other, for connection, and for understanding. We reach beyond USC to shape the world around us, to rewrite the narrative of what it means to be Arab, of what it means to be Middle Eastern and North African.
The annual celebration started 4 years ago with a budget of $100. The first year, $60 went to a speaker and the rest were baklava ingredients. Since then, the budget has expanded significantly, as has the student group. MENASA's co-executive director, Katia Atia, explained that this growth has been vital for the Arab community on campus.
And it's a really important event for visibility in our community. So not only to kick off Arab American Heritage Month, but also to have a presence on campus, have our music, have our food, have our culture represented and seen here.
MENASA now works with USC to host the celebration. This year's event was originally scheduled for last Thursday but was postponed by USC events for, quote, inclement weather. MENASA students say that they learned of the postponement through a vendor. The group released a statement on Instagram urging the university for, quote, greater transparency, inclusion, and the active centering of student voices. The celebration was rescheduled to this afternoon and proceeded as planned. There were traditional folk dance performances, food, speakers, and a henna tattooing station. Graduate student Mustafa Diwidar says events like these help him find community and connect with his culture at USC.
I think it's super important because, one, for me, if it wasn't for some of these events, I literally wouldn't know that there are some people like that I can share this with.
Since the student group formed 3 years ago, MENASA has aimed to be a safe space for Middle Eastern and North African students. Here again is Noor Mira Gaha.
Let MENASA and all the Arab community around you continue to be your home here, and return to it when the world feels loud and confusing. And then let it be the launchpad you leap from when your voice is ready to be heard.
As the group's roots dig deeper and its branches grow higher, MENASA will continue sharing the food of their ancestors, dancing to the tunes of tradition, and most of all, making their voice heard at USC. For Annenberg Radio, I am Kim Lee.
Stagflation, recession, market crash. None of these words sound good. People, experts, and news outlets are throwing around all types of big terms, and today we are going to explain how the recent tariffs will impact you. Sierra Namvari is here to break it down for us.
President Trump's new tariffs have been enacted, and the U.S. stock market has lost huge amounts of value. Wyatt Dunn is a freshman majoring in philosophy, politics, and law. He was sitting in Italian class when he decided to check up on his stocks.
I gasped because I lost, I was down 5% in one day. 5% in one day is huge. That's a balloon of amount of money. I lost $500 in one day.
Tariffs are essentially a tax on imported goods. They're often aimed at protecting American industries from overseas competition in hopes that consumers would buy more goods produced right here in the U.S. This is supposed to create more jobs for Americans, and reindustrialization would be good for the national security. But what do these tariffs mean for students at USC? Dunn says,
ultimately, the consumers are paying the price for the tariffs.
Many students worry about the financial future. Ella Von Thaden is a freshman majoring in art. She is no fan of Trump's tariffs.
I think it's kind of dumb, I think we're kind of shooting ourselves in the foot, and it's just going to not be good. And, everything's going to get a lot more expensive.
Do you ever shop at the Gap, H&M, Target? Well, all three of these retailers manufacture in Vietnam, China, or Bangladesh. New tariffs on imports for these brands could reach anywhere from 34 to 46%. Jonathan Wolf is a sophomore theater major. He, too, has a pessimistic outlook.
I think it's going to have a pretty bad impact on inflation and just costs of everything in the U.S.
They aren't the only students who will be impacted by these new trade policies. Your morning cup of coffee might cost around $6 today. But coffee in America is imported from countries like Brazil and Colombia, both of which are being hit with a 10% tariff. Not all students are against the tariffs.
Kind of right now, they kind of have like a negative connotation or just like association with it right now.
Jerry Lopez is a senior studying accounting.
I think it's too early to kind of gauge an impact, a current impact. But I think if we're able to keep things in America, that would be best.
Philosophy, politics, and law student Wyatt Dunn says he's frustrated with people who voted for Trump's economic policies.
A lot of Trump voters should just kind of reflect on, what they really believe in.
The Dow Jones average closed today down almost 1%. Tomorrow is another day. For Annenberg Media, I'm Sierra Namvari.
Last past weekend, SC hosted the hottest concert of the semester. USC Concert's annual Springfest had a lineup featuring something for everyone, from student bands to hip-hop's biggest name, and the turnout proved it. Aiden Kirby has the story.
Last Friday, Don Toliver lit up the Coliseum stage for USC's annual Springfest concert. The rapper played his biggest hits, like No Pole. USC Concerts Committee put on the event. It was entirely student-run. The show was the club's biggest of the year, and some say maybe even of all time. The festival usually takes place on campus, but returned to the Coliseum to accommodate the huge crowd. They went crazy for Torah. The hip-hop hottie has amassed over 34 million monthly listeners on Spotify and has collaborated with stars like SZA, Travis Scott, and his wife, Kali Uchis. Tickets for the event became quite the hot commodity. The initial wave sold out within minutes and crashed the Engage SC system, but more tickets became available in the days leading up to the event. The lineup also included smaller local performers like the band Friday, Small Talk, and Michelle Liu. Lynn Lapid warmed up the crowd before the Bandit took the torch stage.
Don Toliver, he was definitely a much better performer than I could have ever thought. The crowd was really good. The mosh pits were lots of fun.
That's Cheyenne Biswa. He's a freshman studying human biology. He tried for tickets a few times before locking in a spot. He knew the event would be crowded.
Obviously people are going to be moshing. I can see other people why they might feel a little scared. Because elbows are flying, people are pushing each other around, but I think that's the fun of it.
Concerts Committee Assistant Director Vrishti Patel is a junior studying music industry. She and the club were also keen to the potential for a crazy crowd.
We get updated scan counts of who's at the venue, number-wise. I know there were a lot of safety concerns about crowd crush, so I'm sure if you were at the show, you knew that the show stopped for a bit. We had our take 3 steps back on our video wall. We always have that at every show to make sure that everyone is safe.
Patel notes that Toliver helped manage the crowd.
Concerns, he's played Rolling Loud and all of these really big festivals, so he's aware of making sure that everyone is safe. He even has a safety clause in his rider that we have to fulfill.
The event was a spring success for Don Toliver, Concerts Committee, and USC students alike. With Coachella and other summer music festivals on the horizon, crowd safety and the proper planning are key. Springfest 2025 was a helpful reminder. Make meeting spots, drink plenty of water, and most importantly, have fun. Who will the Concerts Committee secure next year? If I had it my way, Toliver would come back. This time to watch his wife, Kali Uchis, headlining the fest. For Annenberg Media, I'm Andy Kirby.
We are joined once again by our board operator and music lover, Grayson Solomon, to hear his thoughts about Springfest this past Friday. Hello, Grayson. Thanks for joining us again.
Hey, guys. How you guys doing?
We're good. So, Springfest, what were your overall thoughts?
Honestly, I thought it was really cool. The whole different perspective and the whole different scenery honestly made it a way better experience than I've ever been to a USC Concerts event. It really felt like a festival like Coachella, Rolling Loud. The overall vibe was cool. Beer garden, food trucks, photo booth, merch booth. It just felt like an overall better vibe than previous years.
Yeah, and definitely being in an iconic venue like the Coliseum, that huge crowd size, was that did that make any difference for you in the concert experience? Did you think that just crazy massive sized crowd really added to the experience?
I think it did, especially with the performer like Toliver with higher energy, flames shooting up, he's jumping around. It just made it feel like an overall better experience and a fun experience.
Yeah, absolutely. And music is not quite done in April because there's a lot of big events coming up, but specifically one of probably the most popular music festivals that happens every year in Indio, California, Coachella. Weekend 1 is going to be next weekend. So are you going to be tuning in? Do you have any artists you're looking forward to seeing?
Yeah, so I would love to go to Coachella, but unfortunately the paycheck is not there yet. So I will be watching at home from the comfort of my couch. Definitely want to check out Travis Scott's performance on Saturday. Kai Music, Shoreline Mafia is doing their reunion at Coachella, which is crazy. Charlie XCX headlining. the Marias, Mustard, 3-6 Mafia, T-Pain, and I obviously want to see Yo Gabba Gabba because that's just iconic.
Yeah, well, thank you so much, Grayson. We always love hearing your input about all things music. So thank you so much for joining our show once again.
Yeah, thank you guys, and back to you.
USC's School of Dramatic Arts is in its opening week of their production of Something Rotten the Musical, and we've got the inside scoop from none other than two of the show's actors, first-year journalism major Jeremy Park and third-year theater major Sam Meyerson. I talked to Park and Meyerson earlier today, just before their call time, to learn about their experience working on the show and what upcoming audiences can expect. Hi, Jeremy and Sam. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having us.
For maybe some people that want to go to an SDA show, are interested in seeing Something Rotten, that maybe don't know what the show's about, do you want to give a little brief description of the show, what we can expect out of the story?
Sure. It's about two brothers, Nick and Nigel, who are struggling writers trying to make any hit, while Shakespeare, over here played by my good friend Jeremy, he's got all the star power, he's got everything, and so they're trying hard to come up with a new idea. And Nick goes to a soothsayer, and they tell him the next big thing in theater is going to be musicals. So he tries to write a musical, and chaos and hilarity ensue.
Yes. I am so excited to see. I'm going Saturday. I'm absolutely so excited. I think it's one of the most well-written musicals ever. It's also hilarious. It is definitely a comedy. And what do you recommend for all audiences? Yeah?
If you're like above like 16.
Yeah, there's some maybe a little,
Exactly.
maybe some rude humor in there. So, Jeremy, you're actually a first-year journalism major, but you are playing one of the show's leads, Shakespeare. Huge congrats. That's super exciting. What brought you into the audition room to take part in an SDA show?
Yeah, well, thank you so much. So I'll start by saying I am a musical theater minor. So that I did shows in high school, and I went to stay involved through college. So I picked that up a little bit through the end of last semester. I got involved. I somehow heard just through the grapevine that Something Rotten was the spring show, and that's a show I've been wanting to do for a while. Shakespeare's been a dream role for a good bit now, so I was definitely interested in auditioning. But the day I heard about the audition was the day I did audition. So
wow!
That was
my gosh,
super chaotic day. It was like the first day back from classes. Or in classes from winter break.
Wow.
So it was pretty chaotic finding out about them, not knowing like what to prepare and all that. So yeah, after all that chaos of auditions, we finally got settled. We started to meet each other, and it's been a great experience.
And your character Shakespeare, do you maybe have a favorite number, a favorite line that your character says, or maybe do you even resonate with Shakespeare in a way in the show?
Shakespeare's got two pretty big songs, Willpower and Hard to Be the Bard. I'd say, personally, Willpower's my favorite of the two.
You know it. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Yeah.
As for a favorite line, the first one I say is that a young bottom I see? That's directly towards Nigel Bottom. So yeah, I'd say those are my two favorite parts of the show.
Yeah, and speaking of Nigel, so Sam, you are playing Nigel Bottom in Something Rotten. So he's kind of the younger brother of Nick. He's kind of balancing, wanting to be that aspiring writer, the love for the craft, but at the same time dealing with the antics of his brother. How fun was that to kind of tackle that kind of role in a show?
It was so fun. I love what Nigel is a character. He's very similar to me in the sense that he's just kind of terrified. He's just very nervous about everything.
Yeah. And do you have any moments in the show that are some of your favorites?
Ooh, my favorite part, I like Act 2 a lot. That's where
Sweet.
I get more of a character arc, I guess. And I like the number We See the Light.
No, that won't do. God has plans for you.
Where it's all the Puritans are it's some dream sequence of yay, you can be with your love interest Portia now. Everything's awesome. And then immediately after they're no. I can't swear it.
And without spoiling, if I might add, one of my favorite parts of the show is when this guy sings a song called To Thine Own Self Be True. It's absolutely beautiful.
I'm so looking forward to Something Rotten on Saturday, which is actually closing night. So make sure to get your tickets to Something Rotten through April 12th. One kind of final thing that I wanted to hear about you guys, how that experience was. We were talking a little bit earlier, and you mentioned that the writer for the actual musical was in the audience the other night.
Yeah.
Did you know about that before getting on stage, or was that maybe something you found out during intermission? Like, what was the reaction? How was that? Did that add nerves? Did it get you more pumped up? Like, what was the general feelings of the cast?
It was during intermission, right?
I'd even say it was during the middle of Act 1 that we found out he was in the audience. We'd actually gotten the opportunity to hear from him during our tech week. He came in to speak with us after a practice. That was a really cool experience just to hear about the development of the show itself. He was a USC alum, so that was really cool. But when we heard that he was actually in the audience, we knew he was coming, but we weren't sure exactly when. But when we did hear that he was in the audience that night, the nerves definitely shot up a little for a bunch of us. So we felt the pressure, but I think we really delivered on that. And he talked to a bunch of us after the show, and he said he really enjoyed it. So it was a great experience for him to be there. I'm just impressed every single day with the talent that this cast has in all facets, from singing, acting, and dancing. I'm very grateful to have been a part of this process and to just see talent of USC students.
Once again, that was Jeremy Park and Sam Meyerson in the cast of Something Rotten. Tickets are now on sale on SDA's website, and the show runs from now until April 12th.
And that's all we have time for on today's From Where We Are. Gabby Medina executive produced and directed today's show, and Anthony Klingerman produced. We had help from Annabelle LaRue and Lisa Grief.
Our board operator is Grayson Solomon, our live stream operator is Dimitri Prodonentis, and Derek Renfro composed our theme music.
Catch us live on YouTube at Annenberg Radio News Monday through Thursday at 5 p.m. Subscribe to From Where We Are wherever you're listening right now. Finally, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Annenberg Radio. I'm Sana Mahmood.
And I'm Michael Kahn. From all of us at Annenberg Radio, wherever you are, we hope you'll join us again for From Where We Are.